Let's speak to Phil Robertson about all this. He's the Deputy Asia Director with Human Rights Watch, and he's joining us via Skype from Bangkok in neighboring Thailand. Thank you for being with us, Phil. So,
yes.
Fighting on several fronts in Myanmar. First of all, why has the military escalated its response when just a few months ago, in April, I believe, it had told ASEAN leaders that it would end violence?
Well, it clearly lied to ASEAN to try to get the pressure from the international community to go away. What we have seen since that ASEAN meeting was the military has gotten down to business. And in these areas in eastern Kaya State around Demiso Township, what we're seeing is standard operating procedure by the Myanmar military to treat anybody in conflict areas as enemies of the states who can be attacked with impunity. And this is why we're seeing the indiscriminate attacks by air and by artillery, sending in ground troops who, if they see civilians on the ground, they'll shoot them. And that's why people are fleeing into the jungles to escape these waves of Myanmar military coming to try to find the insurgents who previously attacked them.
The UN Special Rapporteur has warned of mass deaths from starvation, disease, and exposure. Is the military deliberately starving people?
Well, we believe that they're blockading this area. This is, again, something they do on a regular basis. They will deny humanitarian assistance to any area where they believe there is resistance to their rule. Food is not getting through, the potable water, medicine, other things that people need. People are hiding in the jungles in the middle of the monsoon season. We're dealing with issues there of waterborne diseases, certainly diseases through mosquitoes and other things, people who have been wounded in attacks who are not getting a treatment. It is a humanitarian disaster. And for the military to block humanitarian aid getting into that area, compounds the atrocities that they're already committing.
Right. The United Nations, Phil Robertson, also warning that the crisis could push people across international borders. Kaya State borders Thailand, of course. To what extent is Thailand now also being affected by what's happening in Myanmar, and what role could it play?
Well, Thailand should open its border and allow for free flow of humanitarian assistance to go across. There are humanitarian groups in Thailand who are prepared to help. There are many who are prepared to take that assistance across. But what we have seen is a real lockdown on the Thai-Myanmar border by the Thai military and border patrol police, trying to control and make sure that no one can go back and forth. And that's just not reality on that border, which is very porous. So there will be people coming across, fleeing from the fighting in Kaya State. And I think that the problem is the Thais are trying to round them all up and send them all back. It is a security response to a humanitarian situation. It's unconscionable and unacceptable. And Thailand needs to change its policy.
Right. And which country, Phil Robertson, could apply pressure on Myanmar's military today? There's been a lot of talk, of course, about China's role and China's influence on Myanmar's military. Could China be the one applying pressure on the military to end this violence?
Well, I think that China certainly could, but I think China probably won't. There was a meeting between the Myanmar foreign minister and the Chinese foreign minister just the other day in China, and these sort of issues didn't come out. I think what we need to see is Japan, which is considered to be a very close friend of Myanmar, a historical friend, needs to be stepping up and saying very clearly to Min Aung Hlaing and others that, look, there has to be a different way of doing this. And, taking it out on civilians in this way is just unacceptable.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Phil Robertson from Human Rights Watch joining us today live from Bangkok. Thank you for your time.